Today we have some huge and fascinating news surrounding TNA and Slammiversary, surprises, and everything you guys need to know. Honestly, it's super sick. By the way, check out this jersey. You know what I'm talking about. All right, also, we got to talk about a huge AEW announcement, and Kurt Angle is returning to professional wrestling. Kind of. And if you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video. We're going to talk about it. Kurt Angle has been officially announced for Real American Freestyle, which is the new wrestling promotion set out by Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, and well, this is interesting. Ticket sales aren't that big for the event. They are getting a TV deal of some sort with like Fox or whatever. But Real American Freestyle is not like WWE, TNA, AEW. It's a different kind of wrestling promotion. More of what you see from like the college wrestling, Olympic wrestling, that kind of thing, which obviously would make a lot of sense as to why Kurt Angle would be there. But now this announcement means that Kurt Angle will in fact be there as a live event commentator, as well as an analyst and partner. As part of the press release, Real American Freestyle has come out and said that the new unscripted freestyle wrestling organization has announced that legendary Kurt Angle will serve as a live event commentator, analyst, and partner for the brand, who will now join Chael Sonnen and Bubba Jenkins for RAF01 on August 30th in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh. I'm really not trying to laugh, but the event is really not selling well, which is not a good thing. But yeah, basically, I think everybody knows Kurt Angle won a freaking gold medal with a broken freaking neck, and obviously he's the legendary Kurt Angle, and it kind of makes sense for him to be here and do this kind of thing, and that's fine. It's fun. It's cool. I'm sure he'll be a great analyst. I don't want to be pessimistic at all, but I just don't think there is a demand for this kind of wrestling on television or for live events. You know, when you look at combat sports, bare knuckle FC, it's gruesome, it's bloody, right? Bare knuckle fighting is so crazy. People want violence. Then you have the UFC, which is mixed martial arts. People want knockouts and submissions. People watch pro wrestling, like WWE and AEW, for entertainment. And sure, you see some cool moves, but there's a lot of value in watching those. This freestyle wrestling stuff is not going to be in demand. I hate to be so pessimistic, but I do not think people care about this at all. Like, at all. Which is interesting because there are some really good names who are signed to the company, but a lot of these people come from MMA. People would rather watch MMA than this. I don't see the value of this at all. I'm going to tune in for the sake of tuning in, but I just don't think this works. Even UFC launched a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, league. I don't even have faith in that, and I like watching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. People want violence, people want KOs and submissions and crazy stuff. They don't want this. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. AEW has officially announced that they are returning to Wembley Stadium next year, August 30th, 2026. This is obviously for All In, so Tony Khan is in fact going back to tradition, which I guess is fine. All In Texas did a really good job of selling tickets. It was a good show. Wembley Stadium should be interesting. They've gone there twice already, and I can imagine that they will probably do a good job for ticket sales, especially considering the fact that All In Wembley did not happen this year. So I do think the fans in Europe, the fans in the UK will definitely go out there and buy tickets, which is nice. You know what I mean? I think it's a good thing. They've done some really, really good stuff. Obviously, when it comes to they've done some really good stuff when it comes to going to the UK. As you guys can tell as well, the other day we were talking about the ticket sales and the gate and everything for Forbidden Door, which is yet to happen, but things are looking really promising. So, it's interesting. AEW goes to Australia, doesn't necessarily have massive success. They go to certain areas in the United States. They don't necessarily have massive success, but I think it's a guarantee with them going to Wembley, it will be a massive success. So that's a good thing. I think that's a very good approach. Now, maybe this is kind of a weird time to predict it, but if you guys want Will Ospreay to become world champion, I think this is the event that you wait for it to happen. Genuinely speaking, I think this is the time where maybe you can expect Will Ospreay to become a world champion. It happens, hometown hero, that kind of thing, and obviously that would be tremendous. I'm excited though. I think All In at Wembley is the right call. I don't think AEW should be put in a position where, I like the idea of them breaking tradition at times, but I don't think they should be put in a position where when it comes to tradition, they're stuck with it. This is one of those where I think every year it would be kind of nice to see them test different markets, because I feel like if AEW went to LA, I think they would have success. I think if AEW went to Florida, I think they would have success. I think if they were to do an all-in in New York, MetLife Stadium, something like that, like I could see them having success. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But very cool stuff there. Should be very interesting to see what they do and how they do it going into next year. And of course, we'll be paying attention to that for sure. And that brings us to our final topics. They go hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen. TNA Slammiversary. So 2 things that you need to know with Slammiversary. Before we talk about the surprises, TNA now projects Slammiversary to be the largest U.S. crowd in company history. Holy shit. Now just keep in mind, at first they were only trying to sell 4,000 tickets. They've done that and beat it by a lot. Like at this point, there is projection for this to be maybe even 6,000 or 7,000 tickets, right? The company has come out and they said that TNA Wrestling has confirmed that all floor seats are officially sold out for this Sunday's showcase event at UBS Arena in New York. Slammiversary will be the biggest attendance of any TNA show in more than 10 years, and it is projected to be the largest crowd at any TNA Wrestling live event in the U.S. In company history. So, like, that's just obviously, how do you even argue against that? Like, that's great, bro. Like, this company was only trying to sell 4,000 tickets. They've completely exceeded that. They're going to have a lot of success with the walk-up ticket sales as well. They're opening up more seats. Like, I'm super excited about that. Now that leads us to the next part of the conversation, is the surprises. So there are multiple reports. I've even actually been told this myself. So if you guys follow me on social media and TikTok, I have already talked to people. WWE is expecting to send more surprises for Slammiversary. And the word going around is that they are main roster stars, not NXT stars. Now, of course, we've already talked about AJ Styles in the past, which is huge, and that's a given. I think that's more than likely going to happen. It would be really foolish for that to not happen. Cough, cough, it's probably happening. But the fact that they want to send more people is interesting. Now, of course, I'm not going to spoil anything because I'm not going to be that kind of guy. I don't know the specific names that have been brought up. However, when you look at the climate of WWE, Joe Hendry wants a match with John Cena. That's always a possibility, right? Like that. Hey, you never know. You might be able to do that. There is always a possibility that could happen. John Cena dictates the road to his retirement. He's been very open and saying, Joe Hendry, if you want it, make it happen. That's always a possibility. Don't be shocked if somehow, some way this year that happens. Do I think John Cena shows up at Slammiversary? No. But who is somebody that could very well show up? And you have to look at the card and the way it is. Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander, probably not going to see somebody show up. Moose versus Leon Slater, probably not going to see someone show up. However, when it comes to the tag team division, I think there's an opportunity for a WWE tag team to show up and challenge the winners and go face-to-face with the winners. Now, who could that be? Could that be the Street Profits? Could that be Austin Theory and Grayson Waller? I think those options should be on the table. And then I think if you want to talk about having a phenomenal return, yeah, AJ Styles, sure. But what about R-Truth, Ron Killings? What if he were to come out and do something really big there? He used to be in NWA TNA. It would be a really nice callback to the history. I'm just saying something big is happening. Stay tuned. Get excited.